Hello student, welcome to the e-learning platform of St. Michael Academy Bettiah. Myself Anand Dwivedi. Today we are going to study the first chapter of civics. The chapter is power sharing. We had started this chapter last year also. In class 9 we studied about democracy. You know well that democracy is a form of government where power is shared among different bodies, different organs. It means we studied the importance of power sharing in last class. This year also, in the first chapter as well as in the second chapter, we will understand how power sharing is important. Last year we studied that a wise distribution of power among the legislature, executive and judiciary is very important so that a democracy can work smoothly. This idea of power sharing will be carried ahead. This chapter starts with two case studies, one from Sri Lanka and other from Belgium. This story will enable us to understand how power sharing is important. So let us understand the story of these two nations, Belgium and Sri Lanka. So let us start with the country Belgium. We understand the story of Belgium. Belgium is a small country and it is situated in the western part of Europe. This is smaller than the state of Haryana in area. If you talk about the borders of Belgium, there is Netherlands in the north part, while France is there in the south, Germany is from east, and from the western side of Belgium there is sea. If you talk about the population of Belgium, it is around 1 crore. The ethnic composition of Belgium is very complex. Let us try to understand. The majority are Dutch-speaking community. They live in Flemish region and they are 59%, while 40% people live in Wallonia region and they are French-speaking community. 1% people are there who live in the easternmost part of Belgium and they speak German language. So we can say that there are three categories of people according to their language. They are distributed in such a way. If we see the capital city Brussels is the capital of Belgium. Here the ethnic composition is completely different. 80% people speak French language, while 20% Dutch speaking communities are there. Since Brussels, the capital city, is very developed area, they are well educated, they are rich, they are well developed, although they are in minority. If you see the condition of entire country, we find that 59% people are Dutch speaking community in whole nation, but in Brussels they are only 20%. So those who are in majority in the country, they are less prosperous, they have lack of education, they are backward, while the people who are less in entire nation, they have majority in Brussels. They are just 80% French speaking community people in Brussels. So most of the benefit of development of the nation has been obtained by French speaking community itself. So this was a matter of resentment between these two communities. Now let's understand the case study of Sri Lanka. Dear students, Sri Lanka is situated in the southern part of Asia. It is an island country. You must be knowing, island country is a country which is surrounded by water bodies from all sides. So Sri Lanka is situated in Indian Ocean. It is in the southern part of Asia. The population of Sri Lanka is 2 crore, and this population is about equal to our state Haryana. If we see the ethnic composition, it is also complex as we studied in Belgium. Here, Sinhala speaking communities are in majority, they are 74%. While Tamil speaking community is there, whose population is 18%. They are the two major ethnic groups in Sri Lanka. Further, the 18% Tamil speaking community has been divided into 2 parts. 13% are Sri Lankan Tamils, while 5% are Indian Tamils. Christians are also there, and they are both Tamil as well as Sinhala, and they are 7%, and they are in minority. Now question arises, what will happen if majority impose their will on minority and they try to do whatever they want? In this situation, generally tussles, conflicts between two communities arises, and this conflict used to be very hazardous for the nation, for the development, as well as for the survival of people. So let us understand how these two nations, Belgium and Sri Lanka, accommodate. We studied the ethnic composition of Belgium as well as Sri Lanka. First of all, let us see the formation of government in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka became an independent nation in 1948, and this government was a democratic nation. This government was a democratic government. People had chosen the government. Here, Sinhala community sought to secure dominance over government. As you are knowing, Sinhala people were in majority in Sri Lanka, so they tried to establish, to impose their supremacy on minority community, and this dominance was to be imposed due to their majority. The government also did the same what the Sinhala wanted. The government adopted a series of majoritarianism. Many steps were taken in the favor of majority community. Let us understand what is majoritarianism. Majoritarianism is a belief that the majority community should be able to rule the country in whichever way it wants by disregarding the wishes and needs of majority. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? Majoritarianism एक ऐसा विश्वास है, एक ऐसी मान्यता है जो ये कहता है कि मेजॉरिटी कम्युनिटी को शासन करने में दक्ष होना चाहिए किसी कंट्री पर अपनी इच्छा के अनुसार। यहां तक कि जो माइनॉरिटी कम्युनिटी होती है उसके इच्छा और आवश्यकताओं को डिसरिगार्ड करते हुए, यानी उनके बारे में बगैर सोचे हुए, उनके हित के बारे में विचार किए बगैर जिस तरीके से चाहे मेजॉरिटी को रूल करना चाहिए, यह जो सिद्धांत है इसे मेजोरिटेरियनिज्म कहा जाता है। सो द मेजोरिटेरियनिज्म was completely in the favor of the majority, and it was only to establish its supremacy over the minority community. Let us understand what majoritarian measures were taken by Sri Lankan government. In 1956, government passed an act, and according to that act, Sinhala became a recognized official language of Sri Lanka. This act disregarded the Tamil language. The second meritorious measures taken in the favor of Sinhala was preferential policies in the field of university position and government job. यानी यूनिवर्सिटी के सेटअप में या जॉब प्रोवाइड करने में गवर्नमेंट ने हर जगह सिंघाला को ही फेवर किया। इस तरीके से तमिल लोगों के लिए जॉब मिलना भी मुश्किल हो गया, एजुकेशन प्राप्त करना भी उनके लिए मुश्किल हो गया। The third policy which was taken against Tamil was protection of Buddhism. बुद्धिज्म को नेशनल लैंग्वेज डिक्लेयर कर दिया और दूसरे धर्म को, दूसरे रिलीजन को, स्पेशली तमिल को यहां भी डिसरिगार्ड कर दिया गया। तो ड्यू टू दीज पॉलिसीज द फीलिंग ऑफ एलियनेशन डेवलप्ड अमंग तमिल पीपल। तमिल लोगों के अंदर ये भावना पनपने लगी कि हम इस देश से अलग हैं, हमारे बारे में कोई सोचने वाला नहीं है, कोई राजनीतिक पार्टी या सरकार का कोई भी विभाग हमारी आवश्यकताओं के प्रति सेंसिटिव नहीं है, हमारे हित में सोचने वाला नहीं है। तो उनके अंदर एक प्रकार से एलियनेशन यानी अलगाव की फीलिंग उनमें आने लगी। सो दे स्टार्टेड फॉर्मेशन ऑफ पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज। आखिर वो कब तक इंतजार कर सकते थे, तो उन्होंने भी प्रोटेस्ट करने की ठान ली और इस क्रम में उन्होंने पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज के फॉर्मेशन किए। बहुत सारे पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज तमिल लोगों के द्वारा बनाए गए थे। बाय दिस पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज एंड तमिल पीपल सेवरल डिमांड्स वर रेज्ड। बहुत सारे डिमांड वहां किए गए। उन मांगों में कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट है जिसको यहां हम चर्चा करेंगे। उनका सबसे पहला डिमांड था कि तमिल लैंग्वेज को ऑफिशियल लैंग्वेज डिक्लेयर कर दिया जाए, जैसा कि यहां सिंघाला को एक ऑफिशियल लैंग्वेज के रूप में एक्सेप्ट किया गया था। उनका दूसरा डिमांड था कि उन्हें रीजनल ऑटोनॉमी प्रोवाइड किया जाए। रीजनल ऑटोनॉमी यानी वो जिस क्षेत्र में रहते हैं, मोस्टली तमिल लोग नॉर्थ और ईस्टर्न पार्ट में रहा करते थे, तो इन क्षेत्रों में उन्हें स्वायत्तता प्रदान की जाए, यानी उनके इच्छा और उनकी आवश्यकता के अनुसार शासन की व्यवस्था की जाए। उनका अगला जो डिमांड था वो था इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटीज, यानी उन्हें एक समान अवसर दिए जाए। किस फील्ड में, तो खास करके एजुकेशन और जॉब के फील्ड में। So many demands were raised by Tamil through their political parties. They struggled on massive scale, but result was nothing. The result came in the form of civil war. श्रीलंका में आखिरकार सिविल वार हो जाता है और इस सिविल वार की वजह से श्रीलंका का आर्थिक विकास कई वर्ष पीछे चला जाता है। श्रीलंका को काफी बड़ा इससे नुकसान होता है और लाखों लोग मारे जाते हैं इस सिविल वार में। तो इस एग्जाम्पल में हमने पढ़ा कि श्रीलंकन गवर्नमेंट ने पावर शेयर नहीं किए, जिसका परिणाम ये निकला कि सिविल वार हुआ, लोग भी मारे गए, आर्थिक क्षति भी हुई। तो पावर शेयरिंग बहुत ही आवश्यक होता है। बेल्जियम की सरकार ने पावर शेयरिंग के मामले में बहुत ही अच्छा कार्य किया। गवर्नमेंट ने ऐसे बहुत सारे स्टेप लिए जिससे लोगों को अधिक से अधिक पावर शेयर किए जाए, तो वहां पर सिविल वार जैसा कोई सिचुएशन नहीं आया। तो आइए अब समझते हैं कि कैसे बेल्जियम की सरकार ने सबको एकोमोडेट किया, यानी एक साथ सबको लेकर के बेल्जियम की सरकार ने चलने का प्रयास किया और उसका परिणाम भी बहुत ही अच्छा रहा।